Are you used to the weather here or air condition?
I am not. I mean, I don't know because it's only been 2 days, but yeah, I wish it was a little sunnier.
Yeah, yesterday.
A little bit.
Yesterday when we were visiting the Forbidden City.
Right. Yeah, I saw you with the camera. Right.
Yeah,
right.
you are like I actually like the cold. I was like, oh, he's a hero. He's like, you know. Like,
no, I don't mind the cold. I like the cold. The cold is okay. It's when it's gray.
Yeah.
You know, that's when it gets a little hard for me.
And Forbidden City is pretty beautiful when it's sunny and you know.
Oh yeah, during the summer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it looks really pretty.
There's a second chance for it because it's really.
Maybe in May.
I would see that as a promise. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I hope so. I did, yeah, I did. No, I did. I sort of thought, that he, to me, was kind of like, he was like this bachelor guy who didn't really have a lot of big family back home, and he was someone that was very driven, and he had Air Force training and a lot of flight training, and he basically, I think he was somebody that one day was hoping to be a commander. That's what I always thought. He was going to be like Jessica Chastain's rank one day, was his goal. And I think what happens with him is that on this mission, he ends up meeting Johansson. It's actually not Scarlett Johansson, but Johansson, the character. Even though you should be meeting Scarlett Johansson.
Why?
But so he meets Johansson, Kate Mara's part, and then Matt Damon gets left behind, and so suddenly I think it all changes for him in the movie. I think he finally, he decides, you know what? I met this woman, and this, it's about life or death, and I'd rather go back, save this guy, and I met this girl, and I want to get back to Earth, and I want to start a family, and I want to be, so it all changes for him, from my point of view, in the movie, but he kind of, so that was my little backstory. It's just somebody who was, really driven and had all these plans to kind of do all these space missions and stuff, and then throughout the movie he goes, you know what? Actually, I just want to go back home, and I want to go back home with her, and that was like my little thing. Well, when we were doing the movie, I did a lot of hints.
Like?
But they didn't make it into the movie. That's another thing. I mean, basically any scene that I was in with Kate Mara's character, I would either look at her a lot, or I would in the first scene actually, there's that moment where she sees the storm, and then I come over and I go by her chair and I look up, just like a real brief moment. And I remember we did that scene, and I even when I put my head down on her head, and I was trying to squeeze in all these moments, and I think Ridley was like, no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
We're not gonna. You can't really, and he's right, because the truth is, no two astronauts would have been able to behave that way. You know what I mean, with each other. They couldn't, or otherwise they would have been court-martialed. They would have been. So if something like that really was going on between two astronauts, it would have to be so secretive, and then it makes it this really kind of old school, kind of like high school, mysterious.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, but nobody could know, because otherwise, these guys are monitored all the time. I went to NASA and I actually asked them, I said, when are you not on a camera? When do they not have, when are you not, you don't have a cord on you that says your heartbeat or your, monitors your pressure, your, and they said, each of them have basically this little closet-sized kind of hole where they go and they sleep, and then they can go in there, for 10-15 minutes throughout the day, whatever, and they zip back up, and then that's the only place they have to themselves. you know, and they can't be going in there with somebody, obviously. So a romance would have to be really under the radar. They sleep basically like vampires, you know. They have like this sort of like coffin-like space where they go in and they, you know, they zip the thing back up and then they just kind of float in there like that.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, he has to be, because the other thing with him is, like, if you remember, he's the guy that kind of pronounces him dead.
Yeah.
So I think for him there's a little bit of a, you know, guilt, fault factor. I mean, the thing is, he didn't do anything wrong, because when I've spoken to actual astronauts and NASA scientists, they've all said it's just protocol. Like, if something were to go wrong, you know, it's basically what they train is to be prepared for every single kind of scenario. So there's no real time to think, oh my God, someone has died. Oh God, we're doing this. You know, it just immediately, if something happens, you look at the information and then boom, you go to one of the things that you've trained, one of the scenarios. You know what I mean? So it was just protocol to do that. For them, it was like, okay, we're losing time. It basically says he's dead. We gotta go. And I think after they left, you know, then maybe feelings were probably starting to go, oh God, you know, we lost somebody and so on. But in the moment, you don't feel that. And then I think for him, when they find out he's still alive, again, you don't want to be the guy to say the wrong thing. And so I think it's very clear in that scene. You know, for him, it just says, yes, I gotta go back. I mean. Oh, the suits, yeah. I mean, the suits were crazy, like I said, because they didn't have zippers, or they didn't. We couldn't go pee. We couldn't go to the bathroom. We'd have to take this whole thing off in order to like go and put them back on. And sometimes, you know, to save time, we just didn't go at all. So you'd be walking around, you know, like in pain. And then other times you wouldn't be drinking water, and then you were dehydrated. But the suits, the bigger suit was actually way easier, to be honest, because then you're kind of like, you were like this giant baby, you know, like they put you on wires, they suspended you up, and then you're just sitting there like, basically people are just pushing you like around, you know, and you're like just twisting, like you can't do anything, you're just waiting.
I always heard that when you are in a superhero movie, the costume is like you don't know zipper, you have to be. But in an action movie, it's like this too. And
well, these were more intricate. These were not, you know, in the superhero movie, the trick is to make the costume look the way it does, but then also for you to be able to move and fight in it can be really difficult. So it has to be flexible, you know. Sometimes here it didn't really need to be, you know, it didn't need to be too flexible. I mean, you're not doing kicks and stuff on Mars. Oh, I see what you mean. The little reference.
Yeah.
But
Such a reference.
yeah, I mean, it had nothing to do with me, that's for sure. It was just that was in the book. I mean, if anything, it just shows you what a popular character Iron Man is now. You know, everyone knows Iron Man.
And the reference of jumping onto the moving train, which is Chris Beck said, you know, when he's talking about to catch.
Oh, so you're saying for Bucky?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I never even think about that. That's really, yeah.
So when you read that in the script, you're like, did you realize that in the first instance or something?
No, I didn't even think about it. But I see what you mean. I mean, yeah, it didn't come across my mind, but I guess he was on a moving train. I haven't cut it. I mean, I'm gonna cut it soon. It's gonna happen. Yeah, but I haven't yet because we have some reshoots in January, and I just thought, you know, and actually the thing I worked on was takes place in the 70s, this last thing I worked on, so the hair still worked. But I just said, if I get a job that's going to require me cutting it, then I'm going to cut it. But I haven't really, it hasn't come up yet, so I may just keep it until we get through the reshoots, and then I think I need a break from the long hair. No, I really didn't. It was a great, awesome discovery. But I had no idea. I mean, now that I do. Oh, but because like I said, it was just me, it wasn't, and it was me and my friend. It was it's not Winter Soldier and Captain America, yeah.
But you and your friend is good.
But that's great. I'm happy. I already saw that people had did their own Photoshops and stuff.
You've seen that?
My favorite, the best one was the Emperor one, where I had the bald head. That was amazing. It made me laugh so much. That was amazing.
I'll tell them. I'll tell the person who did this. And
do you know who did that?
We can
Well, it was genius. That's what I think. I think it was just genius. I have it saved on my phone. I'm very excited. I sent it to everybody I knew. I was like, look.
You're gonna be it's a noble hairstyle,
No, it's so fun. I know the grumpy cat. It's I do.
Do you think that you have the similarity? I think you definitely have it.
That I had a what?
The similarity, the two.
Yeah, of course. When I saw the two next to each other, I was like, of course, this looks identical. I mean, it was very tricky to do that eye makeup stuff.
Why is the eye makeup? I'm always curious.
Because you have to see, the thing is this, in the comic books, he didn't have makeup, but he had an actual he had that Robin, that thing or whatever that's called.
Thing.
Yeah, and they just didn't want to do that, and they wanted to do basically what happens. It's the Navy SEALs, the Army has it. It's you kind of they spray paint their face so they can blend in, and then I think with the mask, you would have had it spray painted, and then with the goggles, so you don't see when you're in the dark. But I always thought it looked a little funny when we took it because it's so dark, and it's really dark, and it just stands out. It's really upset. No, that's not gonna be there.
Oh, it's a pity.
No, and no mask either.